What is up guys, welcome back to the part 2 of this 2018 Santa Fe rebuild. In the previous episode, I purchased this heavily damaged 2018 Santa Fe Sport only for 3,600 Canadian dollars, and I went full send on the front end and replaced its radiator support and rebar, and I also did some body work, and after that I fixed the new set of bumper. If you remember, I purchased this car for my wife's move-in surprise, and today is day 6 out of 10 before her flight lands from Dubai.
The inspection report showed 5 major defects that I need to fix, such as the windshield, emergency brake paddle cover, radiator support frame, replacing all the tires, and finally replacing all the brakes. Some things which are not mentioned are the minor ones, and that is the windshield washer reservoir and the front inner fender liners, as well as the small plastic panel that covers the radiator support.
In today's agenda, all 4 brake pads and tires has to be changed. Luckily, the measurements for the brake rotors are good, so I don't have to change them today. I'm gonna go ahead and install these Raybestos ceramic brakes. The fronts are on the top and below are the rear brakes. This kit comes with its hardware, and these are ceramic brakes, so there shouldn't be any squeaking sounds. So let's begin the process. To jack up the car, you'll see 2 indented markings, and between this is where you can position your car jack. Once it's between the 2 markings, you can slightly start tightening the car jack using the hook stick and the lug wrench. And you can use this mechanism to lift the car. But before you do that, make sure to loosen your lug nuts before actually lifting the car, so that once you lift the car, it will be easier to remove all the lug nuts and remove the wheels. Alright, now that I have loosened the lug nuts, I can lift up the car just enough so that I have clearance under the tires, and now I can remove the wheels easily. The tires are totally bald, and I definitely need to replace them.
Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and change the brake pads for this one. So for that, first I'm going to have to remove this 14mm bolt right here. Loosen this up. The other one is right here. And after I remove these 2 bolts, I'm going to use a Phillips screwdriver to push this piston inwards, and it will be easy for me to remove this brake housing here, and this can come up right easy. So now let's go ahead and remove this. I was able to use a regular wrench and loosen these bolts with my hands. So now I'm going to use a Phillips head, and you see this piston right here? This needs to be compressed in order for me to remove the brake pad housing easily. Alright, so this piston is out. I'm going to place it over by the control arm here so that I don't hang it by the brake fluid hose. Alright, so here is the brake pad that I removed from the car. It is almost completely done. And here are the new brake pads. And check out the difference between the meat on the new ones versus the old ones. So these Raybestos brake pads also comes with its own hardware. I could be removing this bracket here for 2 reasons. One is to just clean up these pockets here. If I remove the hardware from here, you see these are very rusted spots, and these needs to be cleaned up. Not in a shiny way, but just enough that all the rust is out. I can do that with a wire brush or any kind of filer that can have access from here. So instead of removing the bolts, I can literally do it from here and finish it off. And the other reason why I would remove this bracket is to change the whole brake rotor, but for now I'm not going to change the brake rotor. It is fine for now, so I'm going to skip removing this bracket and go ahead and try to file this area so I can put my new hardware. And if you end up using a wire brush like this one, make sure to use eye protection and always keep safety first. It is always recommended to remove this bracket and do the cleanup with a filer or something, but for me I have this small wire brush which is absolutely fine. The main purpose of filing this area is so that I can place the new hardware properly here, and it can sit snug without coming out loose, just like this. And the brake shoes should now easily slide in directly without crushing it or squeezing it. Before I go ahead and install the new brakes, I want to apply some brake parts cleaner, and this just makes sure that any kind of debris or rust goes away along with it. So finally, before I go ahead and put this hardware here, I want to put some brake grease here. So this is a brake lubricant that you can find from your local hardware store, and I'm simply going to put some grease here. And this will ensure that I don't have any more rusting or seizing of parts. And very carefully, without touching the brake rotor, I'm going to do the same thing over here on the top. Now I'm going to go ahead and place my hardware. So this is the locking mechanism on this end. So it should sit right snug, just like this. Once you hear the clicking noise, you should know that it's sat properly. Similarly on the top here. There you go. Once you hear that click, you know that it's all good. All right, so here are the brake shoes. Should slide in easily. There you go. There you go. It is nice and didn't crush. So remember, this side right here is this wear indicator. So this goes on the inwards, usually at the bottom. So now the next step is to remove these bolts from here, and very carefully, without tearing the boot, I'm going to take this out, and as you can see, every time we change a brake pad or brake rotors, we should reapply new grease here so that for the lifetime of these new brake pads, these are all newly greased up. I'm going to clean up the old grease. There you go. And I'm going to generously apply some new brake lubricant. I want to carefully remove any kind of old grease and debris from this boot right here, and also apply some new grease here so that I can have as a reserve, and this can go directly inside. And once it's inside here, you can hear some air pockets coming out, and you can carefully remove those air pockets. Put this in and out, press this in and out a couple of times, and you can see all the air pockets coming out, and you can wipe the excess. It's always nice to rotate these so that any kind of stuck air pockets can come out, and it's all nice and greased up. I will repeat the same process for the one below here. We're very close to be done, and I just have to put this piston back inwards. So I'm going to use this disc brake spreader from the local hardware store. And the way to do it is you can use your old brake pad to keep it here as a plate. Then you can place your piston pusher right here and screw it inwards so that your piston gets pushed in. There you go. The piston is now pushed in. So before I finish putting that in, I'm going to go ahead and complete my brake shoe hardware. And there are two pins that holds these inwards. This one and this one. These make sure that the brake separates from the rotor when the brake is not applied. Alright, so the installation is completed now, and as you can see, the new brake pads are in and the rotor is free to move because of the new spring hardware right here.
It is important to keep an eye on your brakes, but it is also important to keep an eye on your brake fluid before they turn bad, and doing so is so much easier using Testament Brake Fluid Tester. With its 8.5-inch corrosion-resistant gooseneck, the Pt.2 bends where you need it. No mess, no struggle. This Testament Brake Fluid Tester can also test .3, .4, and .5.1. The instruction manual guides the ranges between which you can determine the state of your brake fluid, but it instantly shows you high precision results with its digital screen and 3-color backlight alarm. Green is good, yellow is time to change, and red means you must change your brake fluid immediately. Weighing just about 0.15 pound and built with a handy back clip, it is your pocket-sized safety partner. The packaging comes with batteries, a user manual, and a custom pouch. Testing your brake fluid at home has never been easier. Don't wait until it's too late and get testing today with Testament. Huge shout out to Testament for sponsoring today's episode. Now let's get back to it.
Alright, so before I move on with the brake pad installation on the other 3 wheels, I'm going to go ahead and change the inner liner of the fender. As you can see, this is completely broken. I'm going to have to take this apart and install a new one. Alright, the fender liner looks amazing. It looks absolutely phenomenal. I'm really happy with the results. For now, I'm going to go ahead and install the wheels back and close this off. Similar to the front wheel, it's the same concept. I'm going to have to remove this bolt right here, loosen this up, squeeze this piston that you can see here so that this holder can come up easily. And then it's only a matter of servicing the bolts here with new grease, sanding up some debris here so that it doesn't rust again and the new brake pads can sit properly. And for the longevity of it, I'm just going to tap some brake grease here, and also inside this boot. Once I pushed in this piston, I have enough room here to move this housing left and right, and I'm going to go ahead and remove this, the 2 bolts right here. Now this can come out easily. I will carefully place it on the control arm here so that I don't hang it by its brake fluid hose, and carefully remove the 2 brake pads. There's springs. As you can see, this is completely gone, and maybe historically there was some kind of pad here, but it appears to be none right now. And it is the same on the other side too. Let's check out the old hardware. The hardware seems to be very much seized, so I'm going to go ahead and use my brake pad cleaner. There you go. As always, make sure to wear your protective eyewear so that you stay safe. Something to note is that when we use a wire brush without removing this bracket, we have to be careful not to scrape or not to touch this rotor here because we don't want any kind of imbalance. We just have to clear the debris and rust from here. And once we are done with that, we can directly clean it up with some brake pad cleaner. And the pressure should be able to drive away all the rust. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and remove this, release it from the boot and grease it. I like to be very generous. When we apply some kind of lubricant or grease, it's always nice to be generous with the quantity of it because it just helps you with the longevity of it. I'm going to put some inside here in the boot as a reserve. And then slowly I can put it in and carefully make sure all the air pockets have left. I'm going to do the same for the one below too. Now I'm going to apply some grease on this area here. It's just so that it doesn't rust anymore and it helps you with the longevity of it. We don't want to put anywhere else. It's just We're trying to make sure that the rust doesn't show up sooner or later. We can now go ahead and install the new hardware. These are for the rear brakes, and it includes the hardware too. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and place this new hardware right here. You should be able to hear a click. Sit in nice and snug. Similarly, the one on the top. There you go. This is the new brake pad, and check the meat on them. And here is how much brakes I had before, which is absolutely none. And once I have the brake pads installed, I can go ahead and put these tension clips right here. All right, so now it's time for this piston to be pushed back. And similar to the front brakes, I'm gonna use my piston pusher, and this way, I will start pushing it inwards. Okay, just like this. There you go. Now the piston is completely compressed. Just give it a quick spray here. So that all the rust buildup doesn't start squeaking on the brake pads. There you go, now it's nice and clean. And now I can go ahead and place the brakes back. It's gonna be 50 foot-pounds of torque on these ones. And I think I can put 50 foot-pounds of torque using both of my hands. And this should be good to go. All right, rear brake pads are now changed. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the tires back. And that is how you change your rear brake pads. All right, so brake replacement has been done for all the 4 wheels. So now it's time to change the tires. So these are nice 17 inches brand new tires. I've got 4 of them, one's at the back, and now it's time to replace them. The mobile tire replacement guy is gonna be here in 5 minutes, and I'm gonna let him do the tire change so I can save on some time. Alright, tires are all replaced now. All the 4 tires looks brand new and they're all good to go. So these are way safer than before. Alright guys, that is it for today's episode, and the car looks absolutely phenomenal. There are more exciting stuff coming up on the next episode, so stay tuned and make sure to hit that thumbs up button, and don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, I'll see you on the next one.